Several years ago, I watched this documentary about the Chinese wall. It was quite impressive, to say the least. I figured out afterwards that there were more big wall projects in human history. There was a big wall in Benin, Africa. Back then, it was called Benin. That wall's been destroyed during the colonial era. And then, of course, during the Middle Ages in Europe, you had many walls being built around cities, sometimes around little towns. So building walls have been an enormous part of human history. Now, what is the purpose of a wall? Well, some say actually, a wall is to keep people out. It goes much deeper than that. A wall is a psychological method to direct people's behavior. If you have an open field over here with grass and there are no physical barriers, what is going to happen? People just walk on it. If you put a hedge over there or an actual wall, you actually make it more difficult to walk on the field. So now people have to make effort to come on the field. And the fact that they need to make effort, they're going to think, okay, there's a wall over here. This wall is not natural. It means some human being or a few human beings built this wall. Who built it? Why they built it? So it forces you to think that, okay, people don't want just anyone to come over here. So that means if I go there uninvited or without someone's consent, the consent of people that claim this plot of grass, I may be in trouble, I may face conflict. And human beings, by default, we tend to be risk averse when it comes to conflict. We just get along. We just decide, you know what, I'm not going over there. You don't know who built the wall, even though you don't see a house, nothing, but there's a wall, so you just stay away. Now, if you know that that wall was built 80 years ago, and the property has been abandoned for 50 years, okay, now you can just go, because there's no one alive there with a claim to that place. But in general, when you see a wall somewhere, you tend to slow down. And that's the purpose of walls, is to direct people's behavior. Let's say people just jump over the wall, or break through the wall. Now, obviously, they don't care about the physical barrier you established. And listen, building a wall, a physical wall, is quite intensive. It's hard work, and you also need to maintain the wall, so the wall doesn't fall apart. So if you make all that effort just to prove a point, and people just ignore it, you tend to be upset. So what happens when you break through a wall? Well, you can call the police, or you may point a gun at people, threatening their lives, as if you have a right to do that. No, you don't, because you don't own anything on the earth. You were born naked, and you will leave the earth naked, and Christ has resurrected you. He's the Lord, He owns the earth. But anyway, building a wall is done with the purpose to attempt, because you can't actually do it, to attempt to control other people. Now, let's go to the spiritual and psychological now. Human beings who don't serve the Heavenly Father have the tendency to build walls. Emotional walls. Oh, I don't like you, I don't like her, I can't stand those people. Or they go so far to ignore people, to dehumanize people, degrade people, or to act out against people. They feel confident to act out against another human being just because they say so. Or some build a more psychological wall, saying, coming up with excuses. For example, let's say you call out someone on a bad behavior. Then they build up a psychological defense saying, hey, just the way I was raised, or you made me do it, or it wasn't that bad. So, again, it's not only in the physical that human beings tend to build walls. Also in the spirit, on the spirit level, which includes psychological, human beings tend to build walls. But here's the catch. Building psychic walls. Psychic means both on the energetic and on the psychological level. Building psychic walls has one big side effect that will haunt you. And that is that wall imprisons you. In short, you can't move on. You can only move away. You can move away from your marriage and marry someone else, and then blame it on your ex-spouse why you left her or left him. You can ghost people, block people, unfriend people, and come with the excuse, well, I'm just not interested anymore, or these people are toxic, or whatever. You can move away here and there, but you can never move on, because you're stuck in the same place psychologically. In your mind, it may still be 2017, or some other point in time when you establish that limit or that boundary. But reality has continued. It may be 2030, but in your mind, still 2019. So you act as if it's still 2019 towards those around you. For example, let's say in 2019 you broke up with your boyfriend. He's now your ex-boyfriend, okay? Because you thought you deserved better. Now, that guy moves on, they even think about you anymore. You now still have that same attitude that if people don't entertain you or validate your feelings, you ghost them. And you did it multiple times. And now you ended up in a place in life where nobody wants to deal with you because they can feel, and they have proof that you're unstable. Now you begin to blame all other people. Why people are so disloyal? Why? Now you begin to ask, where are the good men? Or now, if you have a man, you're going to complain about your husband. Why he's so passive? Well, because it's that passive man that was willing to put up with your dysfunction. All the other people eventually got tired of it, and they don't want you to turn on them and ruin their lives. Because people that are unstable like that, they tend to make up stuff just to get sympathy, even making up criminal facts like rape that didn't happen. So, in your mind, it's still 2019 when you broke up with your ex-boyfriend, because you still had the same attitude, you never moved on, you only moved away socially. So, you building that wall, or as saying the world, you putting that boundary or establishing that boundary bound you. Boundaries bind you. Boundaries lead to bondage. That's why it's called boundary. You bind something or someone. And when you establish those psychic walls, you bind yourself to the past. You're trapped in the past. And you know what the worst thing is? Nobody told you to do that. And even people promoted this boundaries myth that they teach in the world, boundaries here, boundaries there, boundaries, all about boundaries. Even though people promote this boundaries thing, you should have examined this teaching. What are boundaries? Oh, those are limits you put on others just to have your way. What really comes down to is you don't want to be challenged. You don't want to be reminded that you have to be flexible. So now you want to be controlling of other people. And you come with excuses saying, oh, I just need boundaries so that I remain sane, this, that. No. You just want control. Boundaries is all about control. That's what it was all about. So you build those psychic walls. And now you expect people to feel welcome and to ignore the tension you've caused so that you don't have to be challenged. So over time, you became narcissistic. Over time, you became the unreliable one. And here's the thing, a lot of people that built walls, psychic walls, when they realize that they're the ones with disadvantage, instead of giving up those walls and admit to all the people they've ghosted or unfriended that, sorry, I was wrong, can we make it up? What do? They make excuses. Or they just stay away because they don't want to be challenged. They're addicted to escaping, that's it. They become neophobes. Okay? Beware of neophobes. Be at peace.